Oi, you. It's time for another episode of Dorothy and the Dealer. Let's tune into the conversation.
You know what I heard Lola singing to me yesterday?
What did she sing?
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk to you again.
Love
you know
that
what that's
song.
about? You know who
I
sang
don't think
it?
I do. Yeah, I know who sang it. Simon and Garfunkel.
Okay, I'll give you a clue. You ready?
Or was it just Paul Simon?
No, Simon and Garfunkel.
All right.
Hello, darkness,
Yeah,
my old friend.
I've come to talk to you again.
What do you think it's about? Why do we never know any lyrics?
I love that song.
Anyway, it's a very good song, and so that song is about depression.
Right.
Yeah, Hello, darkness.
Can
my
I
old friend.
say that I love that your kids are influenced by my musical tastes?
Did you put?
No, but not that one. But like, you know how they sing Hallelujah and they sing like Lola's song is
That's $800 a month in singing lessons, mate. Okay, that's $800 a month.
Okay,
in singing
but
lessons. It's not
let
your
me have my
influence.
moment.
No. Okay, go on. You can have your moment.
They
Anyway.
sing I Wish I Was a Punk Rocker. I love that
I
song.
was a punk rocker with diamonds.
Flowers in my hair.
Flowers in my diamonds.
Yeah, okay. Alrighty, so this is another up close and personal podcast.
Right.
Let's get into it. We've got questions.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, really? Fuck.
I don't listen to a lot of podcasts. Dorothy and the Dealer.
Dorothy and the Dealer. Absolutely brilliant.
Ow, listen to that. That's a big ring. But I love Joe Rogan's podcast.
I like Joe Rogan's. I'm lately into Dax Shepard, the armchair expert. I really like that. Yes.
Really?
I love Under the Skin with Russell Brand.
Under the Skin is another one of my favourite.
I do like that.
Russell is just great.
He's just awesome.
He's just punch everybody in the face.
I like
Love
Russell. But other than that, I don't actually listen to heaps. I've been introduced to lots.
Yeah.
But I listen to audio books more rather than listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
That's me personally.
I mean, I don't mind podcasts, but I agree. I do a lot of audio. Okay, hope that's helped. That was quick.
That was a quick answer.
You got 15 minutes. Let's go.
If science always changes, this is a very good question.
Well, you have to understand, a great way to explain it, I think, Jared nailed it. Jared, he's a neuroscientist he's a client of ours, and we've done a bit of work with him. He's done some footage in the documentary, etc. And he said, you know what, Mitch, whenever he said, I got to talk about the brain. He said, I have a little giggle to myself because I know that whatever I'm saying now, tomorrow is going to, can completely change. The whole
our understanding of it will shift tomorrow.
The whole horizon can completely change. The whole playing field can completely change.
Absolutely. So that doesn't mean, though, that because we don't want you to believe in science. We want you to experience it, if that makes sense. Because the question was like, why should I believe in it? Now, there's a great TED talk by Rupert Sheldrake called The Science Delusion.
Yeah, it's good.
And they talk about how they change science to match their theories, or they don't adjust things. So people are starting to believe it like a religion, right? So we don't want you to believe in science. We want you to experience it. Do you know what I mean? Like there's things that are laws that work. Now, you don't necessarily need to understand how everything works, but when you experience it, there's something that you can't, the way I see it is there's something that can't be defied. That makes sense. Like quantum physics, doesn't matter who you are, we've got an understanding of it that is like this, of a thing that's like this. You know, you can't fully understand it. But once you have an experience of it, it's like, I know that there's something there that is undefiable, regardless of how some of it is explained, if that makes sense.
And the truth about it is, science is just organized knowledge. It's just organized theory. That's all it is. It's just organized theory. So quantum theory is just a theory. It's not a practical thing, and it moves all of the time, and that's the beauty about science. I think the point about wanting to understand science is that science is just, the word physis comes from basically the concept of trying to break lots of different theories down into one concept, into smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller chunks until eventually we can understand what is the workings of the world. But once we get beyond classical physics and we get into quantum theory and we start to delve down that rabbit hole, it doesn't get any fucking smaller. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and it is just it's an endless hole.
Yes.
So I think that you don't want to believe anything. My objective, beliefs are all lopsided, non-substantiated and misinforming. Your objective is knowing, and all that quantum theory does is help you to, is try to help you to understand life at a deeper and greater level. But it's a constant move. There is no.
And I think that's the thing. It's another tool to help, like you said, just to help you to understand life, love at a deeper level. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, it's cool. I hope that answers the question.
So, me too. Me too. Okay, next question. How do I deal with conflict in the home? Well, I just get a canister of petrol, tip it over your head.
Disclaimer.
No, don't really. Well, I mean, I think the way in which we do it is, the first thing to understand is that you're never going to get it right.
There
is no right. There absolutely is no right. And since kids came along into my life, our arguments became, we stopped arguing as much, and our battles became more about communication and more about pulling us together. Because, we're always saying human beings do one of three things. They either revolve in their emotional states, having the same argument over and over and over again, or that argument evolves in its emotional state, or the relationship dissolves and dies. So it's about understanding that there is, whenever you're arguing with your partner, there is a place just outside of that argument where there is love and connection and compassion and empathy and understanding and closeness, and always knowing that that is there. It's a bit difficult when you're drunk on emotion,
when you're in the moment.
When you're in the moment, and you can, you hear yourself having a go at your wife, and you're like, and you say something, you can hear your intellect going, shut the fuck up, don't say that, oh my God, don't say that, oh my God, you're in so much trouble, I can't believe you just said that, and then you feel it boiling up again. But it's about knowing, the both of you knowing that outside of that stuff, there is definitely a place where there is connection and love, and that's all you're trying to do. You're just trying to get there, and to that place that you innately know that lies between the two of you. You're just trying to get there, and understanding that part of the process of getting there is battle sometimes, and is arguments.
Well, we were talking recently about what we always do about gratitude and what we're grateful for, right? What I think in terms of the conflict aspect is that even our arguments, and I know your disagreements with Ange, they've evolved in nature. And they've evolved in nature mainly because how you're handling the argument after the fact is different. How you're dealing with it and how you're responding, sometimes in the moment, but more often after the event has occurred, how you're responding and dealing with it is different. It's more evolved. It's more, okay, this is what was happening for me when I was explaining that. This is what I was actually feeling. I said this, but this is what I'm feeling, and this is why I barked. So I've noticed that between us. I've noticed that with you and Ange, and I think I've noticed that with you and the kids as well. Do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, as I'm progressing and as I'm growing here, and I'm seeing the conflicts shift, because conflicts are going to shift as the kids grow, as the kids age and as they mature, that I've noticed that a lot.
There's kids involved now. And they need a mum and dad, and stability is important. And you also get this innate knowing that they're watching everything.
But even there's conflict with the kids, is what I'm saying. So when there's conflict in the sense that at the end of the day, this is the first time you've ever had an almost 9-year-old live in the house. Do you know what I mean? So there's always going to be a level of that, with the kids.
I think another good thing that I learned was that, when men argue, they will, you know, an hour later they can be having a beer together. If I argue with my wife, it can very easily get into a day, 2 days, a week, and then it starts to get out of control where it's 2 weeks and 3 weeks, and that can happen. And I think one of the richest things that I learned was think about the outcome that I want before I go in to have the conversation that needs to be had if I'm not okay with something, and tune into the outcome of what I want to feel before, so that I know, because when you're in the emotion of it, there doesn't seem to be any outcome. You're just in the emotion. Where if you have an outcome that you know that you want to achieve, therefore you have a destination you want to get to, therefore your language is around getting you to that destination.
Yeah, I feel like for me, how I handle that now differently though is that I recognise my part in it. I know that if I'm having an argument with you,
it's all your fault.
That I know that if I have allowed certain things in the past, that you might feel that it's okay because I've created the space for that to happen. So I realise my part in it, and I realise that where I have to shift, if that makes sense. Yeah. Because if I try and be the same person, the same thing is going to occur.
Yeah.
So it's not about taking on the blame. I share what the concern is, but I also understand that I play a role in how the relationship is occurring, and that's with everybody in my life.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. Hope that helps.
Yes. Remember though, with those arguments, it is your fault. Just, that's the place you got to get to next time we're arguing.
Yeah, of course.
Taking total responsibility.
Of course. Yeah.
Well, we were okay. So the question is, can you have a second moment? Can you ever go back to that space, that moment when you get it? Now, we were talking about this yesterday, that people were saying, we were just dealing in an audience yesterday, and one of the women was saying, you know, I went home after getting it, and I was trying to find the event that had charged me, that had made me so angry so long ago, and I literally couldn't get to the event.
Couldn't remember it.
Couldn't remember it. It's like it's not even in my memory. It's not even in my wiring. It's just not there, and which is what happens. Can you experience that? You know, when I talk about the moment that I got it with my father, and I'm talking about the moment, not what caused it, but the moment, not the memory, but the moment. When I talk about the moment, and I can go there anytime, I can only but weep. I can't even talk about it. I've just automatically just start weeping tears of gratitude. It's like, because it was such a huge experience.
Absolutely. So you do get that moment. It's like you're welling up now. So you do get that moment again. And I've experienced that moment more than once. You don't need to just have it once. You can experience that moment. I think well, life is about that moment. Of course. And so people are aching to go back to that moment. So I think that some people who have high expectations on what the moment's supposed to be, it's like they don't, because it's not quite the same, or it's not like it might shift in form slightly, they are expecting it to look like something else. It's a different story. But I think if you let go and you allow that moment to occur, that moment is there and it's accessible at any time. Like I've experienced it on a number of occasions. I explained my moment in one of the previous podcasts, one of the moment for me. But I've had experiences through the equilibrations that every time, same as you, every time I go back to those moments, I'm like, oh my God, like that was a full shift, full awakening in that moment. Totally. So yeah, you can go back there. It sometimes just takes a slightly different form, you know. But yeah, you can have that same intensity of feeling. I think the first one, because it's the first one.
I think it's important to understand that it's not just an intensity of feeling. You can have that same intensity of moment.
Moments, that's what I mean.
You know, of knowing, of just love, you know.
I think the first one, because you've never experienced it before, it can be quite, wow, oh my God. Once you've had it, you know kind of what to expect.
Yeah.
But I've had moments, secondary moments, where they have been, just as profound, as intense. Yeah.
Cool. Question?
I don't even know where to start with that about a
So the
superhero
question is,
name.
if you could be any superhero name, what would your superhero name be?
These are things I don't think about, people.
I don't know. See, I think my name has already been taken. So I can't. I'd just be picking an existing name.
Superman.
No.
Who would you be?
I'd be Captain Underpants.
You probably would be Captain Underpants.
I'd be Captain Underpants.
I like that.
Yeah, because I mean, if Superman can get away with wearing his underpants outside his trousers,
Why can't you?
why can't I? I regularly do that at home with the kids. By the
Do
way.
you? Yeah, you do. Yes, I've heard.
Yeah. Or I'll walk out with my underpants on my head, and I'll be like, "Has anybody seen my underpants?" It's like that movie, Something About Mary. Have you seen my baseball?
Okay,
Anybody seen my baseball? Have you seen my baseball? Have you got my baseball? Come on,
I don't know. I don't know about the name.
Okay, if you could be any superhero, what superhero would you be?
What superpower or what superhero?
What superpower and then hero? That's good, because the power may define the hero, which may define the name. Go. That was just awesome. What would your superpower
actually
be?
don't even know.
Okay, would your superpower be going blank?
I go blank. I go blank often when I'm put on the spot. I think about things afterwards. Remember, you asked me something the other day, and you're like, "Why would I not?" Why you asked me a question? I'm like, I can't explain it. I just don't agree. And then later on, I was able to explain it to you.
Yeah, but you know that when you're trying to remember something, the two lobes of the brain
I know that.
separate.
I do know that. So that's why when I'm put I'm like, I've never thought about that. So to think about it now doesn't compute. But the first person that came into my mind was Wonder Woman. I reckon I could be Wonder Woman.
Really? Oh, boring.
Yeah, I know, it's a bit boring, but I don't care.
And what would your power be?
I don't know.
She has a myriad. Awesome. She has a myriad of powers. You'd pull that whip out.
I probably would.
She's got that whip. Don't come. What would you say to a religious person?
That's not true.
I'm only joking. What would you say to a religious person that's hesitant about coming to
I would say that if
seminars?
You have that this will only enhance your understanding and your knowing of God.
Yeah.
And it will
I just think that, like
we've had many religious people come through our seminars.
Tons of them.
So many. We've actually had a minister come through many years ago, right? So we've had many people who are religious come through. Am I keeping you awake?
Oh God! When you try to hold in a yawn for quite a bit, and then it just comes out and it makes you look really ugly.
Yeah. So, I think that in terms of that, I think that to me, learning more about love and about God and about yourself can only enhance your understanding. That's how I see it. I have to say, it may challenge you a little bit. Would you agree? Do you think it could?
I think you're not going to challenge and growth don't
occupy the same space. But so in order to have that experience, you have to have challenge.
If you don't want to be challenged, then don't come. But if you want to be challenged, in
a way that's going to have an outcome.
I think that the most difficult thing for people who come and experience an equilibration, who are religious, is prior to doing the equilibration, they're in a state of belief. So they're believing about God. They've never had a direct experience. And I think my experience, so people say to me all the time, do you believe in God? And I'm like, no. And they're like, what? You don't believe in God? No. I know God. Why? Because I've had a God experience. Now, when I talk about God, it's not an anthropomorphic projection of some dude, with a long beard who's 6'2", who's on a cross, or this being who's up in the clouds with lots of other clouds and angels. That's just a fantasy. That's not reality. Yeah, but for me, that isn't. And I'm not saying that's for other people. For me, that's how it is. And so it's the way I see it. For my experience was, when I had what I consider to be my God moment, and I defined God as generator, orchestrator, destroyer, or grand organising design in accordance with the Vedic texts and how the original writings of what it was described, which is just nature. But my experience was that for an immeasurable moment, I was everything. I was the sky, I was the clouds, I was the wind, I was the air, I was the ground, I was I was everything, you know, and that for me is what we are. We are everything, and that's and including this God thing, you know. I feel like when you have an experience of the moment, you go from believing about God to knowing. And sometimes people are afraid of that because they perceive that if they know it, then everything they've ever believed will go out the window. But in actual fact, that's not true. When you know God, everything you believed, you are appreciative of it because it led you to that space of knowing.
Well, yes,
God.
absolutely, yes.
You know, that's what I think. Next question. Okay, so the question is, what do we recommend the daily...
The question's written up on the screen.
Is it? You've never told me that. How was I meant to know that?
Well, have you not watched Dorothy and the Dealer?
Who's that? Dorothy? So, okay, is that like a podcast? Do we do that? Do we do a podcast? Have you seen my baseball? So,
Do you remember the question?
I think it was something about what's a daily habit routine. So, first off, I definitely recommend that you should make it a habit to get out of bed. Definitely think that. Shower, for sure. Eat, very important. Drink water, definitely. If you want to add to this at any moment, Mills, I just feel
I'm just waiting for you to stop being facetious and actually answer what he was truly asking.
Well, I think the first thing is that you have to have time out for yourself.
I've recognised that for me in my life, that if I don't, that's when I struggle.
Morning time is a great time to do that. I've weaned myself off caffeine now over about the past 14 months. I think that coming off caffeine was really important for me because it really made me appreciate that waking state in the mornings, because I get out of bed and I was, you know, I actually allow myself to wake up. When I get up in the morning, I go and I make sure I read my mission statement. I do a 20-minute meditation, which I feel is really important. And I feel the pain of that if I don't do it. But overall, having at least a minimum 30 minutes for yourself every day for you is very important. In the morning is very important.
Yeah, definitely.
That time when your brain is waking up, you're in alpha and theta, which is really the creation waves. And then when you get out of bed, then you're in the creation wave. The best thing to do is immerse yourself in what you're trying to create in your life.
I love TM, like the transcendental meditation. Love that. I find that I agree with all of what you've said, you know, reading your mission statement and taking time like that. But also just in my day-to-day life, I make it a habit to see if I can do something different so that I'm not doing the same thing every day in some way, if that makes sense. So
breaking ritual.
Pardon?
Breaking ritual.
Yeah, like I'll drive even if it's driving a different way or doing something that's different, I make sure I do that as well every single day. And there was something else I was going to say that was added to what you said, but I can't remember. But yeah.
Okay. Well, okay, so the question is, how do we keep our values aligned when we're traveling and we're away? The first thing is, I'm very clear about what my top 3 values are. And every day I do something with my top 3 values. Every day. No matter what, I'm always doing something with my top 3 values.
I think that when I'm away, there's certain things that I noticed were frustrating me or were... I wasn't being myself when I was away at times, especially when we were traveling overseas with the clients, right? Because that's a good 2 weeks of not of being around lots of people, right? For me, what I do is that I set myself up to have my space. I gather my energy. I'm an introvert, so I gather my energy from rejuvenating internally, you know, having alone time. So that means things like one day while people are doing stuff, I will stay back and I'll just like have Millsy time just because I need to do that. If we're away for work, as in we're doing a seminar, I know that over those 3 days or 4 days or 7 days, however long it is, that I've got to allow myself to do that in the best way possible that those seminars allow. So if that is a quick 20-minute go outside, have a meditation, or if it's just something where I can take the time in those long days to have something for me, that's how I stay grounded. Now, in terms of family and stuff, I find that everybody I need is all around me. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like I don't, for the most part, it's not, I have my family everywhere. It's like the people I have in Melbourne are like my family.
Yeah.
The people I see in the Gold Coast and Brisbane and Adelaide when we go there, they're like my family. It's not like I feel separate from people when I'm away, if that makes sense, because the people that I'm closest to are there in some shape or form, and everyone's so close via technology anyway. It just means that I also balance that out when I get back to make sure that the first thing I do is connect with my family and loved ones back here when I'm home. So that is not a massive thing for me, because I feel like it's interesting, like when we're away, when we're traveling, I feel like everywhere, India was the first place I really felt it. I've just felt like I'm home. Like I just felt like there was a part of me that was home there. But now when I was in LA just recently for, a week, and I felt like this is like, I don't know, I just feel like, I can do South America, same thing. You just feel like it's your home away from home. I feel like as long as I'm doing the things that I'm loving, like you said, do something I love every day, no problem. Yeah. What song always gets you on the dance floor, Mitch?
Now I got my eyes on you.
I'm thinking of a different song. Silence. Yeah. Sarah McLachlan. That's a good one. Grease 2000 is another one that does that Grease for 2000. Me. Every time I hear that, I'm like, just want to dance.
Silence and Grease 2000.
Yeah. I was actually thinking less techno songs and more like...
Oh, were you?
Yeah, I was thinking Billie Jean.
Billie
Jean gets people on the dance floor.
It's a good. I think it gets people on the dance floor. Like if you put it on at a house, people get up and have a boogie. But it's not a song that keeps me on the dance floor.
Yeah, it doesn't keep me on the dance floor, but it sometimes gets me on there. But Grease 2000, Silent, and Groove Armada.
Oh yeah, Groove Armada.
Super Styling.
Yeah.
Always, I have to dance to that one. Love that one.
Yeah.
Go-to karaoke song.
Go-to karaoke song. Hotel California.
Is it?
Yeah, kind of.
I've only seen you do karaoke twice.
I can sing it.
Can you?
Not really, no. But it's
singing is not one of your fortes.
If I pick a song, but there's always an Irish song as well. Like if you give me
you can do the Irish.
The Corrs, I don't mind.
I love the Corrs. I got a DVD of them. They're cool.
Congratulations if you have a DVD.
I do. I love them. I love
You're
listening to
them. You're the 7th person in the world that has a DVD.
I don't care. I love music DVDs. I put them on when I'm doing my housework because I've.
You too. One.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to know my go-to karaoke song?
Favorite comedy show ever?
No, well, hang on a second. Let me do my go-to karaoke song is Extreme, More Than Words. It's so easy to sing.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it like A, B, C, D,
but Extreme, More Than Words.
G? I don't know how to sing it.
No, you just want me to sing it.
No, I don't know it.
I need to actually have some music. I'm really bad at
singing. Okay, just have a go.
More than words to show you feel that your love for me is real. Yeah, that bit is not easy to sing. Anyway, but that's my go-to karaoke song.
Yeah, okay, favourite...
Meanwhile, I've only done karaoke once. But anyway.
Well, we got to make a change to that. I might have a karaoke machine up at the house for Christmas.
Yeah.
That would be fun, wouldn't it?
My brother's got one and I sing there.
Yeah.
But
are
just
they
Elvis.
Good?
Yeah.
It's just Elvis.
No, we sing Elvis all the time. Love Elvis.
Okay. Go. So, favourite comedy TV show ever?
Oh.
It's very difficult, isn't it? That's a difficult one.
It's difficult.
Come on, have a go.
No, I need to think. You're putting me under pressure, and I'm like, no, I don't know how to pick one.
Oh, gee, come on.
No, you pick one.
It's kind of between three.
Okay.
So the first one would be The Office, Ricky Gervais. Very, very funny. The next one would be The Young Ones.
Yes.
Very, very funny. And of course, I would have to say Fawlty Towers.
Oh, Fawlty Towers. See, I wouldn't even have thought of Fawlty Towers. I loved Fawlty Towers.
Yes.
Yes, Fawlty Towers would have to win.
Do you know, at the end of Fawlty Towers, every time at the end of Fawlty Towers, there's a sign outside the front of the hotel. And every time it would say, with like farty towels, or I think one of them was filthy twats.
Do you know that they only made 12 episodes of that ever?
Now, do you know how it came about?
You told me, but I can't remember.
They were staying in a hotel in England, in the countryside. I think it was of Yorkshire. I'm not 100% on that. Don't hold me to that. And they were the hotel owner was so rude that they decided that they would actually make a TV show about how rude this hotel owner. Yeah, he was so rude. They couldn't comprehend that the bloke even had a hotel. He was just really rude. Wow. Yep, there we went.
Cool. John Cleese, though, he's brilliant, isn't he?
Very, very good. Well, the whole, you have to understand, all of them all the Monty Python boys were brilliant.
All of them were, yeah.
They were all geniuses.
Yeah.
Cool.
Any more questions? No?
You going to do peace out or what?
Yeah, there's an ending.
The end.
Peace out, brother.
I'll do this thing because Nathan wants it.
For Nathan.